All right, we're live. Hey, everyone. It's nice to see you. Welcome to the Partner Matrix webcast. We really appreciate you being here. We've got a really great show for you today. Included in our conversation, we've got Akash Singh from Mind Matrix, Brent Earlywine from Quantum Channels, and Craig Booth from Channel Force. We're here to talk about partnerships model and fostering success through a unified partnering approach. Just to start out, let's just give Brent and give Craig an opportunity to talk a little bit about their businesses. Let's start with you, Brent. What makes you expert in the topic, and what does your business do? Let's start with you.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate that. So, hello everybody. Brent Earlywine, Quantum Channels. Usually, I describe myself as I'm a channel guy. So, I have dedicated my entire career over multiple decades to everything that has to do with indirect routes to market. So, I've done everything from individual contributor as a channel account manager, all the way up to senior VP of indirect channels. I've run local teams, regional teams, global teams, national teams. I've done channel programs, channel marketing, channel communications, and everything in between. So, and I've done that because I firmly believe in the power of indirect routes to market. I think it's one of the fastest ways to grow and scale a business. And if you're in the IT industry, software industry, if you haven't already, more than likely you're going to end up with a channel play in some way, shape, or form somewhere on your business life cycle. So I launched Quantum Channels with one thought in mind specifically, and it's kind of expanded from there. One is over the years and over the decades, I've seen a significant gap on skills training that is specific to the channel role. And the channel role is a channel account manager or partner account manager. It's a sales role, but it's also a partner relationship role. So I've always labeled that as a boundary spanning kind of role. And most companies, unfortunately, do not provide channel specific training. They offer sales training, but not the channel management specific training. So that's what I launched Quantum Channels to do originally. And then, of course, it's expanded my partnership with Craig and the MP3 model, which we'll talk about a lot today, and other things like fractional channel leadership, to assessments on vendor programs, to skills audits, to you name it. It's become a little bit broader of a story, but just a quick rundown, background channel guy, and having a lot of fun helping companies figure out their channel plays.
All right, cool. It's a great topic. Channel sales, hardest role in the channel, right? All right, Craig, let's hear about Channel Force. What are you guys up to?
It's always hard to follow Brent Earlywine. I feel like this list of accomplishments could go for quite a long list there. But again, my name is Craig Booth. I'm the founder and principal of Channel Force Incorporated. I know your original questioner was what makes me an expert on this. I always feel like in channels, we're never really experts. We're always in a learning process. Things are always changing and progressing. But as far as my background, I've spent 30 years in technology sales. Half of that was in direct sales. Half of that was in channel leadership and managed services leadership. I've got a really good track record of taking underperforming organizations and turning them into really high performance sales organizations. My claim to fame was probably taking a Juniper channel process from 5 million to 111 million in 5 years. And I did that through a structured process. I went to a couple other companies, took this process with me that I was building on the fly, and had very similar results. I decided I would go out and write a book. So I wrote a book called Channel Force. It's about 300 pages. Anybody that's looking to get through insomnia, go grab this book. It's filled with lots of great stuff, but maybe a little too detailed. I'll put it that way. And then I've also just have a passion for structure and a passion for helping companies grow their sales. And so this process that I've built and the tool set that I've built around that is really an outgrowth of that, of that passion. So, and we'll get into those details as we go further along. So, innovated a couple of products, have a couple of products that are developed, have a couple of books, and here I am. So,
all right, I like it. Well, let's set the stage. You both have mentioned MP3. Aside from being a really good music format, there's probably something in the channel that's far more interesting to our listeners. I know that, Craig, you've got a quick slide you might pull up. Brent, why don't you kick us off while Craig's pulling up the slide, and then we'll have Craig continue on.
Yeah.
What is MP3? What is it?
Yeah. So, I don't want to steal Craig's thunder. I'll give you kind of my view on it. First off, it's a challenge or a major pain point that we see, and that is, if you have a channel play or an indirect route to market kind of motion, typically the legacy channel models are you go recruit a bunch of partners and maybe you have some KPIs and management, I'd say almost after the fact. And it's a little bit of a hope and pray, right? Recruit a partner, maybe they're going to go out, they're going to find you some deals, they deal reg, and then you get good visibility in the funnel and forecast from there forward. What's typically completely missing from that equation is the proactive co-selling engagement and a structured methodology and a structured approach to actually generating the demand and having visibility at the front end of that process. And I know, Craig, you're going to go through this in a second, but one of the things that was attractive to me, and I haven't seen this anywhere else, so I've been a channel leader and I've been in channels for so long, this is one of the core pieces that either is not being done at all, or if it is, it's being done in a very unsophisticated manner or kind of ad hoc, or pieces are missing. This is the first time I've seen a methodology that is start to finish and is shifting the focus on how you manage channels from the partnership level down to what we would label as the active seller level, which is the critical component on how you actually generate the revenue and the revenue growth, which is what everybody's after from a channel play. So, Craig, with that, I'll be quiet because I think you can probably explain it better than I can.
Yeah, and by the way, I lied. I'll probably do 2 slides, and then we'll drop off the slides. But MP3, Vaughn, you absolutely said it early that no, this is not the digital selling or digital music format for everybody. The reason we came up with MP3 is it stands for Methodology, Planning, Process, and Performance. And the concept behind MP3 is that we were going to be front-ending a sales process like MEDDIC or spin selling, or think of any one of these sales processes. There's a real need in the market for the channel to have structured performance, meaning that we can build partner-led demand and pipeline the sales process for the co-sell motion. So what you see up here on the screen is really the 3 elements that fit under this methodology, planning, process, and performance. So the planning is revenue planning. So we start with a set of tools that we have where we're capturing some of the metrics, and we're building revenue plans at the territory level, and we're building revenue plans at the partner level. And what this tool does is it essentially will take in 12 inputs, and we can spin out how many partners you need, how many active sellers you need, how many outreaches you need, how many closed deals by solution set, how many meetings you're going to need to generate, what quarter you need to generate those meetings, those outreaches, how many active sellers you're going to need by quarter. It'll give you the revenue breakdown. We run the same kind of metrics at the partner side where we put a goal out there. We need to figure out how we're going to get to that goal. And we're going to give you all the metrics that you need to hit from both a target account planning perspective as well as your market development. So meaning events, inbound, outreaches via email. We're going to map all of that out, and then we're going to give you the funding behind that as well. So that's the metric side of it. Those metrics front end a plan. So we build, at the territory level, at the channel account level, we're going to build the actual plan. Like, who are the partners? Who are the active sellers? What are the accounts we're going to go after? And then we have to resource that. And I know there's lots of discussion around resourcing, but what we do is we take a solution and we build a sales strategy for that solution. We package it in the form of a sales play. The sales play is not a marketing document. It is literally a step-by-step recipe that we want our partner seller to follow in the target account planning process. And then the performance intelligence is we want to capture the prospecting activity of the partner seller. And we have a really simple math equation. This is a channel ops math equation that we have that, as Brent mentioned, we are taking the channel down to measuring individual active sellers, meaning partner sales reps. And this math equation that I'm showing you here is showing you that, it's got 40 active sellers. If an active seller is prospecting in 4 accounts, that's 160 accounts. Those 2 metrics give us the ability to generate at least model new revenue. So if I were going to double my revenue, if I doubled my number of active sellers and I doubled my account coverage and my equation to the right stayed the same, my engagement rate stayed the same, my conversion rate stayed the same, my average deal size stays the same, I would double the revenue. So essentially, we're moving things downstream to sellers and accounts, and then we're putting a math equation behind it. And then going back to this slide, we have a tool called Performance IQ, where we are capturing the prospecting activity, and we're running that same math equation into this dashboard with trending analysis. So that's the high level for what MP3 does. So I'll stop there.
All right. Wow. So that was a lot of detail, actually. I guess I've got 2 questions. The first one is, how does this take these kinds of sales methodologies to the next level for the channel? I mean, a lot of times what happens in channel sales. The sales leader comes in, they say, okay, we've committed to spin, or we've committed to challenger sale, or whatever, and here's the methodology, and they're out trying to do that with with their channel partners, and it's a little uncomfortable. It doesn't quite fit. How does this build on that? How does it the next level?
No, and by the way, that is a great question. So when we build sales plays, we will take your sales methodology and we will integrate that sales methodology into the sales play. So let's use spin selling as an example. Spin selling has got a certain set of questions that you want to be asking for spin selling. We'll build the questions into the sales play for taking spin selling as an example. We'll take MEDDIC and we'll take some of the metrics and some of those type of things, and we'll build the story around the metrics play. So we'll integrate the sales play into your selling process, and we're going to essentially align the partner seller to operate in that process. But what we're doing is we're really front-ending that process with a demand creation process through the partner community. So if you think about it, most of the sales processes start when there's an opportunity, and they teach you how to go through that opportunity and develop that all the way through to a close. What we want to do is we want to pipeline more opportunities through the partner community so that we create that co-sell motion. So,
yeah, the piece that I'd add to that, Vaughn, is it's taking a very prescriptive approach to how we're generating demand through and with the partners, one by what we're focusing on. So we're no longer focusing at the organizational level. A lot of people will do account mapping and, hey, we think we want to go knock on these doors, or, let's see who you have as a base customer versus who we have as a base customer. And then they go, all right, let us know how that works out. And then, they hear back from the partner or they don't. So one, we're going down a level into the individual sellers inside the partner organization by name. We're then listing the accounts we want to go chase together by name in a very prescriptive short list approach. And then by saying, here's the methodology of what the outreach and the approach to those targeted customers or prospects is going to actually look like and what we're going to measure. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to support that entire effort with a very highly customized sales strategy, sales resource, sales play to go, here's the value prop, here's the pitch, here's the process, here's the supporting material, here's your, email chain, whatever it is. And again, it's not a generic kind of marketing document where everybody's got, oh, we got a sales play, and you talk to the economic buyer and here's one PDF that you're going to use everywhere. No, it's going to be very prescriptive, very customized for that particular sales play and strategy on the target accounts we're going to go chase. So I think that's probably the biggest difference, is shifting who we're engaging with. So sellers versus organizational level. And then to the prescriptive approach on what target accounts, we're going to stack rank those accounts and score them and score the relationship the partner sellers have with those targets as well. So we actually start with, it's highly qualified, it's sort of qualified. So you have, a good starting point, and then support it all the way through with the sales plays, and then measure it on the other end. So we know that we're getting the traction we want And then once it gets to the actual, hey, it's a real live opportunity, normal processes like spin or MEDDIC or what have you from the actual sales engagement will kick in and move forward, and normal forecasting and funnel review and tracking will happen. But this is all going on at the front end of that process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make total sense. It sounds a little like account-based selling for the channel, right?
It is. If I can make one more quick comment on that, and this is something I think will resonate with the audience as well. Over the last week, I've spoken with 7 VP level channel leaders that are out of work. They're all looking for work today, and none of these folks were slackers. Like, they were superstars. Any company would be welcomed to have these people on board. And it got me thinking, like, what is the real issue here? And then I'm going to tie this back to the MP3. One of the biggest issues every channel leader has is, how do I take and demonstrate to the board, to my CRO, the leadership, how my strategy actually produced the end result? And that is the biggest issue these guys face. This is why the channel gets devalued, because there's no visibility to what's actually going on. We did an enablement, a deal registration popped out the other end, and then we have the direct seller saying, well, I did all that, and this guy is, just creating the direct. So we have this contention, and the channel team is always devalued in the story. And what MP3 does is it solves that problem, because we can show you the visibility of the strategy through the account mapping, through the prospecting engagement, all the way to the front end of that sale. And when we get into the digital selling discussion, we can show you the buyer's interaction with the content, all right, and capture that data. So this is end-to-end visibility that solves that attribution issue that I assure you, if these channel leaders had this, be able to go present their story, they would, this dashboard, these tools, it would be a whole different story. I mean, you can't value at that point. So anyway, I just want to make sure
attribution matters. Attribution matters for sure. Hey, Akash is our partner expert from MindMatrix, and I'm sure you're listening to this and just going, I've got questions. So Akash, what questions do you have for these guys in terms of channel and how you actually apply these types of techniques?
Actually, Ron, so lately I've been working very closely with both Brent and Craig on the partnership side. So I already got a sneak peek on MP3 model. So I'll give you my 2 cents on a very high level of what exactly MP3 does from my perspective. So if we look at the industry trend, I mean, most of the companies have downsized their partner program last year, right? And they have decided to do more with what they have in hand, which means what are the partners they have in hand, and they want to achieve more with them. So if this is a trend, then creating a juxtaposition of driving channel revenue and reducing operational cost at the same time has become imperative for these companies. And if you look at the MP3 model, it hits the nail right on the head, because this is saying that you drive a channel revenue at the very lowest cost. So correct me if I'm wrong, Brent and Craig. So this is exactly the whole essence of MP3 model.
Yeah, I mean, it's a core value add. We talk about 2x the revenue at half the cost, and
Exactly.
Practically what that turns into is, let's start with what most channel leaders and channel teams do. We need more channel revenue. What do? Oh, we're just going to go recruit more partners.
Right.
And that can be the answer if you really have gaps or white spaces. But MP3 at its heart is really about taking the partners you already have and turning on more active sellers within the existing partners. So getting broader and deeper into their sales team, which doesn't mean you need to bring on another organization. You're effectively just getting wider into that partner that you already have. And by doing that, it's extremely effective. And it's less costly because you don't have all the enablement and all the onboarding and all the stuff that comes with trying to recruit a brand new partner. Plus, it's a shorter turnaround because that partner is already in your systems. They're probably already enabled. They're probably already comfortable in engaging and selling your stuff. and supporting your stuff. So by turning on additional active sellers, you get more traction in a shorter amount of time. And I think that's the piece that most channel leaders are really missing. They just, throw more organizations at the problem and then scratch their head a year later and go, why haven't we seen the uptick in activity and revenue like we expected?
Brent, just while expanding on that, what's your thought? Because if there is a trend of downsizing partner program, so which means, companies have to become nimble and efficient in the entire sales process. So what are your thoughts on evaluating running a skill assessment and evaluating the skill gap at CAMS and PAMS level? Because from my perspective, they are the important piece of this puzzle. So in order to efficiently implement this MP3 model, so do you think that we should place a very high emphasis on their upskilling the CAMS and PAMS?
Yeah, I'll give you two answers to that question. It's a great question. First off, I have a very strong opinion that the vast majority of companies, like I said earlier, are not supporting and helping their channel teams be the best at what they can be. And you do that through evaluating where they're at. So, skills assessment and really just getting that outside third-party clarity on good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it looks like. Don't just have opinions, have somebody take a look at it at a deep level and go, all right, I see gaps. This is a problem. This is an issue. This is great. This is awesome, whatever the case may be. And then as a company, you owe it to your teams to try to help them be better at their job. And you do that through skills training and consistent, repeatable skills training. You do that with your sales teams. Why wouldn't you do that with your channel teams and channel specific training? And then if we link that back to MP3, if you are, as a company, you're trying to consolidate your budget or make your budget more effective or make it go further, one of the ways you do that is by taking a prescriptive approach on, let's be judicious in where we're spending our money, and let's go spend our money in a place that's going to turn into, and we can attribute it directly to, hey, we did X, Y, and Z as an activity, i.e. run us through the MP3 methodology, and it turns into revenue. And I can see that all the way through the process. And I know that I got a return on that money. And again, as a channel leader, I've been guilty of this myself. What happens? You have an MDF budget and you throw it at an event or demand generation activities. And then you're always struggling after the fact to prove to your C-suite that, that money turned into the revenue, and you can attribute it to this deal or that deal, or it actually did what you said it was going to do. And most people are doing that with, eyes covered and fingers crossed, trying to say, yeah, I think that gave us the result we wanted, or it didn't work out and I don't know why. That's one of the things that MP3 is designed specifically to fix and resolve, is spend the money, but spend it wisely and have good attribution as a result.
Yeah,
I'm going to go a little off script here, but how much of the skill gap that organizations see are actually really a skill gap? How much of it's training, and how much of it is just they don't deal with the attribution very well?
It's another great question. I know this is a little, kind of off from the core topic, but I would tell you that I'd say it's almost, 70-30, 70% being that attribution challenge, because they don't have a process, they don't have systems, and they don't have ways to see all the way start to finish. It's not that anybody's not that intelligent. They can figure it out, but they need the tool and they need the methodology and the reporting to actually see it. And then the second piece to that, there is still a pretty significant skills gap that shows up. And it's the consistency and repeatability. Maybe a company or a vendor will do it once, and then guess what? They'll blink and 3 years will go by and they haven't done it again. And their teams have rotated and people have moved on and new people have come on board, and they think they have the right skills, or the skills are relevant today versus they were yesterday. It's an ongoing process. And my challenge to companies has always been, you take a really, really hard look at the skills of your sales team all the time. Why aren't you doing the exact same thing for the skills needed for the channel teams?
Yeah, and I think, Brett,
we probably got time for about 2 more questions, and I've got a hefty one for Craig. Okay,
all right, fire away.
So Craig, in these sales methodological approaches, a lot of them are really hyper dependent on phone calling and more phone calling. But the way that the sales process is evolving is really digital centric. Okay, so how does this MP3 framework deal with this sort of digital selling model that everyone's sort of heading to nowadays?
Yeah, by the way, it's a great setup, Vaughn. So I appreciate that. So guys, let's start with the fact that 44% of buyers today don't want to talk to a sales rep. And when you think about, and it's growing, because you think about these millennials that are used to buying everything on their phones. They grew up with digital technology. They're just used to dropping in and buying something, some Apple app off their phone. They're moving into leadership positions, right? And they're starting to make purchase decisions. They're used to doing a self-education process. And of course, you have people of my generation or older that like to talk to people, and we're still kind of in that world. But it's a real issue, because when you think about what's going on today, everybody's doubling down on SDRs, BDRs. We're putting up, PDFs up on the website. Somebody comes in, fills out a gate form, downloads the PDF. We have no idea whether that PDF actually met what they were looking for, but it kicks off a train of events that are going to take place at the SDR and the BDR level, where that person is getting penalized for downloading that. They've got email coming every day. They've got phone calls, like they just can't get through this. So the digital selling is kind of the next phase of where I think things are going. And I caught on to this about a year ago. When I started looking at what I was doing with that Performance IQ, being able to capture the prospecting and strategy execution of the partner seller, I came across the company that has a digital selling platform that is really second to none. And so this platform is meant to be integrated into part of all of your ABM, marketing outreach. You stick it up, a link up on your website for a solution you want people to go through. And this platform and it's called Splash Metrics. What Splash Metrics will do is it will create multiple persona journeys. When you drop into that journey, it takes you through an ebook, it takes you through an assessment, it takes you through an ROI calculator, it takes you through a demo, and all of it has dynamic content. So as you answer questions and as you go through this journey, the content changes based on your answers, and the content actually sells you based on your answers. Hey, you answered this was your objection. The next piece of content that shows up explains how we're solving that objection. So you take people all the way through, but the beauty of it is that we're capturing all of that progression and the interaction of that client with the data. So everything that he put into the ROI calculator is being sent back to the CRM. Every answer that he has is being sent back to the CRM and scored. And at the end of it, a report pops out that says, here, Akash went all the way through the journey. Here are his 5 pain points. Here's his budget, his time, his need. All the work the SDR would normally do and the BDR would do through a discovery call is being done in this platform, pushed back, and then it's being sent to the sales rep that owns it. And if it's on the partner community, it ties right back into Mind Matrix. We could link the CRM into Mind Matrix, and we can give a partner their own landing page that has their own link to it. So when a customer comes in through that landing page, goes through the journey, gets scored, it gets dropped into Mind Matrix for that partner that says, hey, Craig Booth just went through this solution journey. Here's the sales report and the score. You need to go follow up. So it really is compelling. And if you look at the way that I'm setting up my go-to-market with clients, we're hitting both. We're leveraging referrals, but we're also leveraging digital selling for the people that don't want to connect to a sales rep. So we're trying to capture both ends of that equation. It's a long story, Vaughn.
It's like an 80s choose your own adventure book.
It is.
That might have been lost on Akash. As the young guy in the room, Akash, I'm sure you've got to have a final question that's kind of sitting here for these guys. And then after he asks his question, guys, why don't you tell us if someone's really trying to amplify their sales model, their partner sales model, how do they get in touch with you? So Akash, here we go. Last question.
Million-dollar question for Craig and Brent. Where do you see MindMetrics adding value into the entire value chain of MP3 partnership model?
Yeah, I'll go first. So real quick, in a recent previous life, I was a customer of MindMetrics, and I want to call out that my team and I at the time, we did 6 months plus of a really, really deep review of all the vendors out there from a PRM perspective. And MindMetrics came out on top, and it came out on top for a couple of really big reasons. I've spent a lot of my career in the unified communication contact center space, so the whole CX customer experience mentality is near and dear to my heart. And one of the things you guys bring to the table is what I'd label as PX, right? Partner experience, and the partner life cycle and onboarding and automation and all those capabilities, I think, is a critical component for a next gen kind of PRM platform. And you guys now, I don't even think we can call you a PRM platform. You're so much more than that now, at least what I've seen in capabilities and how you're positioning yourself. And then my second answer to that question is, this is an additional value add that plays right into where you guys are and are headed as a company. And all right, what's your actual play with your partners? How are you going to get them up to speed faster? And it's not just, oh, here's your enablement, here's your online training, come into the portal, do a deal reg. This is going to get to the heart of the matter, which is how are we going to go generate revenue together in a prescriptive, structured approach? Because that's what everybody cares about. The vendor cares about it, and the partner cares about it if they're smart. And then this is an offering to go, hey, this is a great way to do it, and we can all see it, and we can measure it, and hold each other accountable for it.
Wow,
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, and I'll throw one other quick thing in there. So from a very tactical level, all the planning tools, so my planning IQ, the performance IQ, they generate reports and they generate dashboards. And those would be pushed down to MindMetrics and out to the partner for, QBRs, for, KPIs, all of that. So I see you guys as foundational to the communication with the partner for all the things that we're doing. And, the sales plays would be hosted on MindMetrics, all the campaigns. I mean, you guys are like foundational to MP3. It would be very difficult for anybody to run this process without a centralized platform, and I think you guys provide that.
That's very cool. How do they get a hold of you guys? And then we're a wrap. We're 2 minutes over. How should they reach you?
LinkedIn, website, easy to find, post all the time. So that's probably the fastest way for me.
We have written a blog also. Please go check out our MindMetrics website.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. Same way?
Yeah, just www.channel-force.com. I've got a calendar up there. Drop in anytime.
All right. With that was an awesome and fast conversation. Thanks, guys. We'll look forward to, I'm sure, having you on again, because that was really useful. So thanks. And with that, take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.